Have you ever caught yourself saying the same sentence over and over, without even realizing it? Something like, "This always happens to me," or "Nothing ever changes." You say it so often it stops feeling like a complaint, starts feeling like fact. And the worst part is you don't notice it shaping your day, your mood, and eventually your life. You tell yourself it's the traffic, the job, the people around you. You tell yourself if things were different, you'd feel different. But what if the problem isn't your situation? What if the problem is the sentence you keep repeating? This is the story of a man who had no reason to change. His life looked fine on paper, but he was stuck, frustrated, and exhausted. Until one afternoon, stuck in traffic, he heard himself for the first time. And that one moment of awareness started a chain reaction that changed everything. Stay with me until the end, because his story might be the proof that you don't need to change your circumstances. You just need to change the sentences you repeat. The traffic was the same as always. Daniel sat in his car, the brake lights of the car ahead glowing red, the clock on his dashboard ticking past the time he should have been at work. He opened his mouth to say the sentence he had said 100 times before. "Why does this always happen to me?" But this time the words did not come. He stopped, not because the traffic had cleared, not because anything had changed. He stopped because, for the first time, he heard himself. The silence in the car felt strange. The sentence hung in the air, unfinished. And in that pause, a question appeared. What if it's not the traffic? What if it's me? He did not know it yet, but that moment was the beginning of something he could not have planned. Daniel's life was not broken. He had a steady job, a small apartment, friends who thought he was doing fine. From the outside, nothing was wrong. But there was a weight he carried, a quiet exhaustion that followed him through every day. He woke up tired, worked through the hours, and fell into bed feeling like he had run a race he did not choose. Every morning started the same. The alarm rang. He silenced it, scrolled through his phone, and let the first thought of the day form. I am so tired. The day had not even begun, and he had already decided how it would feel. He did not question it. The thought was automatic, as familiar as breathing. The drive to work was the same loop. Traffic, frustration, the same sentence. Why does this always happen to me? At work, the pattern continued. Emails were annoying. Meetings were pointless. His boss was incompetent. Nothing ever changes around here. He said it so often that he stopped noticing he was saying it at all. It was not that his complaints were untrue. The traffic was slow. The emails were tedious. But the pattern was something else. Each complaint was a small lock, clicking into place, sealing him inside the same day over and over. The afternoon in traffic was the first crack. He did not know what made him stop. Maybe it was the silence of the car, the unusual stillness. Maybe it was the exhaustion of repeating the same sentence for the 100th time. Whatever it was, he heard himself and the sound was unfamiliar. That night, he sat on his couch, the television playing something he was not watching. He thought about the question that had appeared in the car. What if it's me? It was uncomfortable. It was easier to blame the traffic, the job, the world. But the question would not leave. He made a decision, not a grand one, not a promise to change his life, just a small experiment. For 24 hours, he would not complain. Not out loud, not in his head. He would just notice. The first hour, he failed. His coffee machine jammed, and the sentence rose in his throat. Of course this happens. He caught it before it escaped. He stopped, reset, and tried again. The second hour, an email from his boss landed in his inbox. The same familiar frustration bubbled up. He opened his mouth to say the words he had said 100 times, and he stopped. He sat with the feeling instead of feeding it. By the end of the day, he had caught himself dozens of times. He was not complaining occasionally. He was doing it constantly. The realization was unsettling. He had been running this program for years without ever questioning it. Nothing on the outside had changed. The traffic was still there. The job was still the same. But inside, something felt different, quieter. The noise had dropped just enough for him to hear something he had been missing. He tried again the next day. Not perfectly, Not every time, but intentionally. Each time he caught a complaint forming, he paused. He did not replace it with positivity. He just let the silence sit. And in that silence, awareness began to grow. He noticed things he had been ignoring. The traffic was not the problem. He was leaving at the worst possible time every day. The job was not the problem. He had not asked for a raise in 2 years. The exhaustion was not the problem. He was scrolling for hours before bed, sleeping late, waking up already drained. He had known these things, but the complaints had been covering them like static covering a signal. Once the static faded, the signal became clear. And clarity, he was beginning to understand, was uncomfortable. Because once you see the pattern, you cannot unsee it. And once you see it, staying the same becomes harder than changing. The first week was a war. His brain fought him. The old pattern was seductive, familiar, easy. He would catch himself complaining about the coffee, the traffic, the weather, the news. Each time he stopped. Not because he felt strong, because he had made a decision. By the second week, the pauses came faster. The complaints were still there, but they no longer owned him. He had space between the thought and the word. And in that space, something new appeared. Questions. One morning, instead of saying, "I hate this job," he asked himself, "What exactly do I hate about it?" The answer surprised him. It was not the job. It was the feeling of being stuck. And that was something he could change. He started small. He went to bed 30 minutes earlier, then 45, then an hour. He left home earlier, avoiding the traffic that had been frustrating him for years. He scheduled a meeting with his boss, not to complain but to ask for feedback. He took on a project that interested him. Then he asked for a raise. None of it was dramatic. There was no breakthrough moment, but the small actions stacked. And without the static of complaints, he could see where he was going. A few weeks later, his manager pulled him aside after a meeting. "I have noticed something different about you," she said. "You are calmer, more focused. What changed?" Daniel thought about the question. He could have talked about sleep schedules, about traffic patterns, about the raise, but the truth was simpler. "I stopped complaining," he said. "I started paying attention to what was actually in my control." She looked at him for a moment, then nodded. "Keep doing that," she said. Within months, the raise came through. Then a new role. More responsibility, more growth. People described him differently. More confident. More professional. Easier to work with. He was the same person, but his pattern had changed. And when your pattern changes, your presence changes. People feel it without you saying a word. But the thing that surprised him most was not the job or the money. It was how he felt. Lighter, clearer, less affected by things he could not change. He still got stuck in traffic sometimes. His coffee machine still jammed. But the noise in his head had quieted. He no longer woke up tired. He no longer spent his days rehearsing problems he was not solving. If you asked Daniel what changed everything, he would not talk about the raise or the promotion. He would not talk about the habits or the systems. He would say, "It was the day I heard myself. The day I stopped repeating the sentence and started asking the question." Here is what Daniel learned, and it is worth holding on to. Complaining does not feel like a problem. It feels like thinking. It feels like you are analyzing, processing, understanding. But it is not thinking. It is rehearsing. Every time you say, "This always happens," your brain looks for proof that it does. And over time, that becomes your reality. The pattern is invisible because it is automatic. It runs in the background, shaping how you see everything. And how you see things determines how you respond. If you see problems, you react. If you see patterns, you can change them. The people who move forward are not the ones who never feel frustrated. They are the ones who pause long enough to ask a better question. Not "Why is this happening to me?" but "What is in my control?" Not "Nothing ever changes," but "What can I do differently?" Questions open doors that complaints keep closed. Daniel did not become perfect. He still felt frustration. He still noticed things that were broken. But he stopped letting the frustration run the show. He created space between the feeling and the reaction. And in that space, he found something he had been missing for years: choice. Now look at your own patterns. The sentences you repeat without thinking. The complaints that feel like facts. The static that covers the signal. What if you paused just once and heard yourself? What if you asked a different question? You do not need to change everything. You need one moment, one pause, one question that breaks the loop. Try it. Just 24 hours. No complaining. Not out loud. Not in your head. Just notice. See what happens. Because the life you want is not built by changing everything around you. It is built by changing the pattern inside you. And that change starts the moment you hear yourself. If this made you hear something in your own thoughts, do not let it pass. The next time you feel the complaint rising, pause, ask a better question, and see what happens. And if you want more stories that help you break the patterns that hold you back, hit like and subscribe. Because the people who win are not the ones who never struggle. They are the ones who stop repeating the sentences that keep them stuck.